Greetings, fellow Arrow fans. Well, look at Arrow Season 3 now continues on with Canaries. The Arrow and Arsenal pursue an escaping man who proves largely evasive until he's taken down by Black Canary, Laurel. Rather than be grateful, the Arrow's furious to see her still on the streets as a vigilante. He warns her that she's in over her head, trying to live up to Sarah's title, and tries to convince her to give up being Black Canary for her own safety. Annoyed by the Arrow's scolding and attempts to dissuade her, Black Canary suggests they simply avoid any direct contact. Later in the Arrow Cave, Oliver is still fuming from their encounter, and demands to know from Diggle why he allowed her to go out at all. Diggle defends Laurel by pointing out she is not helpless, and that she was helpful during Oliver's absence. Felicity announces the arrival of Oliver's new best friend, Malcolm Merlin. Malcolm wants to begin training Oliver to fight Raish, but also wants him to tell Thea the truth about his vigilante work, feeling she can't be kept in the dark as they fight back. Oliver is reluctant to do so, as Thea's ignorance could be the last way to keep her safe. Dick also warns Oliver that his on-off relationship with his sister could end if she discovered the truth about him. Meanwhile, Quentin tells Laurel about what Sin told him, that the woman behind the canary is not Sarah. Laurel pretends to be surprised by worrying her father is getting closer to the truth. Quentin believes Laurel's claim to not know what Sin means and departs. Laurel goes to the courthouse to oversee the transportation of Werner Zeidel, or Vertigo. One of the guards starts to hallucinate, seeing the reports as monsters, and randomly fires his gun into the crowd, hitting many people. Zeidel escapes as Laurel takes down the gunman. In the Arrow Cave, the team watch the news and try to locate Zeidel's location. Laurel comes in and tries to suit up as Black Canary, but Oliver takes her outside and once again tries to dissuade her actions, this time likening it to that of an addict. Laurel sees the role of the Canaries and escape from harsh reality. However, he gets the nervous color bucked by her, who says Oliver falls in the same category as her, as he has many reasons to want to escape his own reality. Oliver goes ahead and reveals his Arrow identity to Thea, showing her the lair and all his tools and outfit. At first in days to discover this, Thea is unexpectedly overjoyed and praises Oliver for being a hero, remembering all the grief she gave him when she thought he was self-absorbed. Later on at home, they discuss his activities, and Oliver confirms Moira's knowledge of his secret identity. Thea jokes in retrospect that many of Oliver's excuses to go out as the Arrow were not even good. Oliver turns serious when he discusses the trials that lay ahead of them, and adds that he will always hate Malcolm, but tolerates him because he has an important role to play. Malcolm appears, and Thea accuses him of deliberately trying to create a rift between her and Oliver. Malcolm accepts her anger and leaves. Roy talks to Thea, who was surprised to discover Oliver's role as the Arrow before she did. Roy is grateful she now knows the truth. Thea admits to him she's starting to second-guess her father, and Roy urges her to break away from him. They are interrupted by the DJ Chase, who flirts with Thea. Against Oliver's warning, Laurel goes after Zeidel alone. She takes on a few of his men, but is infected with the drug Vertigo, which causes her to hallucinate seeing Zeidel as Sarah. Sarah taunts, mocks, and derides Laurel for attempting to take up her mantle of the Canary, accusing her of stealing and failing at being a hero. The drug plays out one of Laurel's biggest fears, that she is fooling herself trying to live up to her sister's status as a hero. The two Canaries fight, with Sarah, really Zeidel, savagely beating Laurel. Driven to hysteria over it, Laurel pleads for Sarah to stop, saying she is her sister, only to be beaten up even more. Laurel's nearly killed and only survives thanks to the intervention of Team Arrow. Arrow chases after Zeidel, but he gets away, and the Arrow and Arsenal take a pleading and broken Laurel to the Arrow Cave to be treated for her affliction. By the time to get to the Arrow Cave, the drug's effects are in full swing and Laurel's violently convulsing and bleeding. Laurel hallucinates Felicity as Sarah and pleads for forgiveness. As he administers the cure, Thea comes in and sees Laurel in her costume and guesses she is involved, but she is able to get any answers as Oliver tries to usher her out, only for Roy to snap at him for trying to keep her in the dark and that she can make her own choices without him. Thea leaves, and Oliver prepares to reprimand Roy for standing up to him. Joel attempts to calm things down, but Felicity steps in and points out that in Oliver's absence, they thought he was dead and had to do things without him, even included doing things he would not. Though Oliver tries to argue that he is back, Felicity cuts him off and says it doesn't mean things will go back to the way they were, so you have to get used to the team's independence outside of him. She also spitefully says that he has no right to criticize their decisions. When no one comes to stunned Oliver's defense, he resigns going up to Verdun to muse about Felicity's words, but also tells them to let him know about Laurel's state. Diggle joins him and goes for a more subtle approach. He explains that the team was a very close hang up with their vigilante business under the impression Oliver was dead. It was then that they realized that they did it that they did not do it just for Oliver, but for themselves and the people of their city. He tells Oliver that he has created something great, but questions whether he can handle it. Lucy Laurel tells Felicity what she saw in her hallucination and begins to feel uncertainty and doubt over being Black Canary, thinks she can't live up to her sister. Felicity suggests that this is the problem. Laurel's trying to be like Sarah. Felicity believes Sarah wore a mask partly to be a hero, but also to hide her inner darkness. But Laurel has a light inside of her that she can use to her advantage. Reassured in herself, Laurel suits up as Felicity discovers Idle's location. Oliver and Diggle come in. Oliver tries to tell Laurel something. She assumes he's going to try to dissuade her again, but it is the opposite. He has to come with him to confront Zidle. Thea sleeps with Chase and they prepare to drink wine. However, Thea notices a particular aroma in the red wine and realizes he's trying to drug her. She acts aggressively, but Chase proves to be a better fighter and holds her at bay with a knife. Before he can kill her, Roy's arsenal comes to her defense. However, he proves it's insufficient, and Malcolm shoots an arrow into Chase's shoulder. Realizing there's no way out but through death, Chase drinks a poison that immediately kills him. The arrow and Black Canary find Zidle holding scientists hostage. He escapes by setting the chemicals on fire, and the arrow saves hostages as Black Canary goes after Zidle. Once again, he affects her with vertigo, and she is once again faced with Sarah. She also imagines seeing her father, confirming another fear, that she is in the wrong for not telling Quentin of his youngest daughter's death. Quentin firstly scolds Laurel for her decision to remain silent, arguing he cannot mourn for Sarah. He is replaced by Sarah, who demands to know if Laurel thinks she could be like her. Laurel says she's no longer trying and proceeds to viciously beat Zidle into submission. She imagines seeing civilian clothes Sarah smiling at her, with it really being Oliver. Upon discovering Thea's close encounter, Oliver goes to see her and Roy. Thea is greatly shaken by the event and reconsiders whether she can face the League of Assassins after all. Malcolm decides it's time for the two to train, and tells Oliver to face his greatest fear, so he will use his fear to his advantage. At the same time, Laurel decides to tell her father the truth about Sarah. At first it seems Quentin has already come to realize it, but it turns out to be his revelation that Laurel is the Canary. He realizes the truth when Laurel breaks into tears. It becomes distraught to discover that he has lost Sarah again, and father and daughter hug in grief. Oliver and Thea leave Starling to go to the place Oliver is terrified of, Lian Yu. During flashbacks, Maceo tells Oliver to contact his family and the media so that Waller cannot get to him. Waller will eventually realize Maceo tried to give away the virus and retaliate. In the meantime, he, Tatsu, and their son will go on the run. Oliver tries, but is found by Argus and tortured for the family's whereabouts. Waller forces Oliver to reveal their location by thinly threatening Thea, who she mentions has descended to drug use and could easily overdose any day. However, they don't find Maceo, who lied to Oliver about where they were going in case he was caught. To make up for this, Waller has the two taken to China White's location to apprehend her in Starling City. Dun dun dun. So let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. In the opening scene, one of the shipping containers has the Star Labs logo. Felicity tracks Warner Zidle to the pharmaceutical company called Daggett Industries, where he plans to manufacture more Vertigo. Daggett Industries and his corrupt company President Ronald Daggett were introduced in Batman the Animated Series. Melvin Weathersby Posner is an amalgamation of Weathersby and Stone, and Posner and Klein from Eli Stone, which is another series produced by Arrow showrunners Greg Berlanti and Mark Guggenheim. And now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. The car is already damaged before the Arrow and Arsenal land on them after an explosion forces them to jump out of apartment windows. In real life, there is no ferry service between Hong Kong and Shanghai. In a flashback, Oliver mentions Ned Foster leaving a voicemail for Moira asking her to tell everyone that he's still alive. However, in Burned, Oliver didn't appear to know who Ned was and needed to ask his mother. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting, and the fact that Oliver has to learn to adjust to things being a little bit different in his absence is kind of interesting and emotional at the same time, so yeah. So overall, I give Canaries 4 arrowheads out of 5. When I tune in bed, wait till the next episode, The Return. So, until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.